You know, in life, sometimes a man's exit out of yours is actually a blessing. And it may not feel like it at that time, but it could be exactly what you needed. Now, regardless of how much of a blessing it may be, it's very normal for someone to still struggle with that and to even wonder if this man truly regrets losing you, right? Or you desiring for him to feel that way, for him to actually regret it and to feel stupid for the decisions that he's made that may have led to the ending of your relationship. And so, because I know so many people are looking for answers in regards to making a man regret losing you, I said, let me make another video about it, right? But I need to present some important things to you to help you understand the best way to go about this, okay? Now, one of the first things I want to address before I get into what you can do to enhance the chances of a man regret losing you is you have to always remember that things are not always what they seem. And the reason why I'm throwing this out there is because I've seen a lot of people break up. And let's say, for example, the man goes on to or quickly moves into a new relationship, right? And so the woman feels like, oh, he never loved me, he never cared. And that in itself can be so hurtful that it adds to the struggle of moving on from the situation. But what I have to explain to so many women is that just because he's quick to engage with someone else does not speak to whether he cared about you or not. Some people are using someone new as a coping mechanism, as a distraction, right? And they don't want to face themselves and deal with the reality of the situation. So it's the whole get under someone to get over someone. Horrible advice. Do not suggest it, but that's what a lot of people do. So you got to be careful when it comes to trying to determine someone's actual feelings and what they're thinking based off of what you're seeing on the internet or hearing from the grapevine and all these different things, because it doesn't always tell you the real story. All right. But let's get into some of these things that will, can lead to a man regretting losing you. And so one of the first things I want to talk about is make sure that when you leave peacefully. Now, for those of you who are already separated from that situation, this clearly won't apply, but it's something you need to remember going forward. One of the things I think people make a mistake with is that when things are going to end, they don't even care anymore. They just go off, okay? And whether it be cursing someone out, whether it be keying someone's car, whatever the case may be, they go crazy. And it's because in that moment, their emotions get the best of them. And they're convinced in that moment that this is done anyway, so nothing to lose. The problem is those moments don't always last, meaning the perception that this is done or that you don't want to have anything to do with him doesn't always remain the same. So when the smoke clears, people find themselves, now it might be you regretting the way you handled the situation. Not to mention, if you don't leave peacefully, if you leave in chaos, right, then the chances of someone regretting losing you just went downhill, because it's like, okay, no, now I'm free from all that craziness. But when you walk away peacefully, you really mess that man's head up. Mess that man's head up. You really throw him for a loop. And what happens is, you know how they say you only have one chance to make a first impression, but that last impression can be very impactful, right? Because now when he's thinking about the fact that you're no longer there, he's left with you being mature, more positive. And I know it may be hard to be positive in those moments, but the more that you can have control of yourself and go about things in the best way possible, the greater chance you'll have of either potentially reconciling, if that is something that needs to be considered. And yes, there are some situations where reconciliation should happen. Okay? Not all. I know some people believe once an ex, always an ex. I do not believe that. You have to look at it from a case-by-case basis. But Don't make things harder, okay? Also understand that when you leave in chaos, in that moment, it may feel good to yell, kick, scream, key the car, whatever the case may be, but it doesn't really solve anything for you. It gives some level of satisfaction in that moment, but it goes away quickly. So you really just want to make sure for your own peace of mind and what's in your best interest, as well as not opening the door to more drama. When you leave peacefully. That's one of the best things you can do. All right. So another thing for you to do so he'll regret losing you is do not entertain any of his advances afterward. Okay. So there's a lot of women who, once they break up with a man, whether it be relationship, divorce, whatever the case may be, the reality is that just because a man wasn't fit to be in a relationship with you, maybe in some situations even asked for things to end, right? It doesn't mean he wants to lose access to you. And so a lot of men, not everyone, of course, but there's a lot of men out there who will still hit you up, still try to see if he can sleep with you. And you have to make sure you don't make the mistake of confusing that with, oh, that must mean there's still a chance here. That must mean this can turn into something more. Okay. And if the hope is for him to really feel the pain of your loss, well, you can't achieve that if you keep letting him back in the door. You can't control him continuously coming back. What you can control is whether you entertain him or not. All right. And so it's important for you to really know yourself and to set up the certain boundaries you need so that you don't fall into any traps. So if you know that being on social media, if he messages you, right, it's going to cause you to want to respond, then you might need to block him. If you know that him showing up at your door, knocking on your door is going to make you go outside and then fall back in the conversation, don't go to your door. Listen, I know people who, if someone comes to their door unexpected, it don't matter who it is, they're not answering it. All right, just have that rule. It's safer for you anyway. Whatever it is, figure it out and create those necessary boundaries and plans of actions in advance. What's going to also help you is have an accountability partner. All right, you need someone that can hold you to the standard of not entertaining, or where you feel like, I don't want to have to acknowledge to this individual that I fell for it again. And that in itself can help keep you at bay and not going back down that path. So whatever it is, be careful, be mindful of that. Now, let me say this, because there's always various angles to consider. I'm not saying that no man who comes back isn't ever coming back with genuine intent or interest to reconcile and make things work. What I am saying to you is that unless those attempts are going to be followed with you guys actually resolving whatever the issues were, right? Being on the same page on actually moving forward, not assumptions, not, okay, well, you figure if you just go out with him this one time, it'll lead to better things. No, it needs to be, okay, what are we doing? What are you trying to do here? At that point, just ask him straight up. And if everything is what it needs to be, all right, cool. Then I'm not against it, right? But you just need to make sure, because I've seen so many women stay in these cycles for years later, and it's just a dead-end situation. You know what I'm saying? So be sure to gain the clarity that you need and stay strong in not entertaining him, especially if you want him to regret it. All right, so let's move things along. And here's another thing. Well, technically, this is something that you should not do if you're trying to make him regret losing you. And that is trying to make him jealous using another man. Okay? Now, can it actually work? Yes. Okay? Can him seeing you or even hearing about you being with some other man elicit a response of regret in him? Absolutely. But here is one of the problems with taking that approach. It is normal for people, even those who, again, are not truly best for you, are not serious about you, to get jealous when they see someone they were with someone else. It is human nature for a lot of people, at least on some little bit of a level, okay? And so someone reacting to that man, it doesn't automatically mean he actually cares. It could just mean he's being territorial. It also could just mean, okay, yes, it causes him to regret losing you. And let's just say now he's reaching out and that's what you wanted and he's trying to make things work. But if he's just reacting to the thought of someone else with you rather than the reality of not being able to be with you, that's a problem. You see what I'm saying? So there's a quote I like to use: if your absence isn't enough, dang, I forgot my own quote. If your absence isn't enough to motivate him, your presence never will. So if you being away from him, that by itself does not cause him to say, man, maybe I gotta figure this out, I gotta try to do better, then him getting back with you because he's freaking out because you're with someone else doesn't change anything. All right. And so you'll get those situations where, okay, he's gonna talk all sweet and act right now, but then you guys will be right back to square one. Not to mention, getting him jealous does not fix the underlying issue. Now, let's just say you guys broke up because you felt like you were not getting enough attention from him. You didn't feel appreciated. You didn't feel valued. And that's why you left him. So to you, him getting jealous is like, oh, he's finally showing he cares. And that makes you think, let me get back with him. But the problem is, whatever was blocking him from showing it before that time has not been resolved. It's still an issue. So again, you're getting this momentary satisfaction, but you're not actually progressing things in any way. Now let's look at the different angle here. Another reason why you should not be doing this is because I go back to what I said, the whole horrible advice of get under someone to get over someone. You are now inviting this other man who may actually be into you and like you and hoping for more and using him as a tool to get your ex jealous. That's not fair to him. And now you may also find yourself feeling stuck. I cannot tell you how many women I always say one of the worst positions for a woman to be in, anybody to be honest with you, is with a good man that you're not really in love with, okay? Because now let's paint the picture. You get with this other guy who's been showing you all kinds of interests, and usually people are gonna pick a nice, safe choice, even if they're, again, not really into that person. You get with this individual, hoping to make your ex regret. Let's say he does, but you're like, nah, I ain't messing with him. But now you have this new guy who he's not doing anything wrong. You're not really into him. You were able to get your response that you wanted, but now how do you validate to yourself or explain to this new man that you don't want to be here no more? That you're not really feeling this, you want to go in a new direction. Some women have pulled it off. Many don't know how to and find themselves essentially feeling stuck and even end up marrying that nice guy who they just weren't really into like that, all right? Not to mention, I'm gonna be real with y'all, I've seen situations where the woman wanted out so bad and this new nice guy would not take a breakup for nothing. He would cry, he would beg, all these things. She even went, there's one example, there's multiple, but there's one example. This woman was even going as far as to purposely cheat on him, let him find out just so that he would break up with her. And guess what? He didn't do it. I'm not trying to laugh. It's not funny. Bottom line is, it was crazy and he would not let go. Again, there's so many wild situations out there, somewhat similar to this. And this is what doing things like this can lead to. So all that to say, don't involve other individuals in this messiness, all right? Jealousy is not a good tool for anything in relationships. It's one thing when it just happens naturally. So it's one thing if, no, you're actually seeing a new guy that you actually like, you're into, your ex sees it, regrets, okay, fine, because it was a genuine, natural situation. But when you're forcing that, when you're creating that on purpose, you're going to create a much bigger problem on your hands. All right, so we got a few more to go. And so another, quite possibly the biggest thing, or well, not the biggest, but anyways, an extremely important thing for you to do when you want him to regret losing you is just focus on making your life better, okay? When someone sees you have moved on and you're happy, that is gonna hit them hard. But if they're observing you, and I say they're observing you because let's be real, tons of people are lurking on their ex's social media pages, maybe talking to people who are mutual friends in the neighborhood, whatever the case may be. They're finding ways to check up in many scenarios. And when they hear you're unhappy, one, it probably gives them, unfortunately, a level of satisfaction. Not that they're happy that you're sad, but they're happy that you're not doing better without them. But when you change that narrative because you're focused on how you can start enjoying your life more, well, that's very powerful. But before we even get to powerful on what it's doing to that man, it's powerful for you. And that's the most important thing. And unfortunately, I see a lot of people dwelling or being so consumed about what their ex is thinking or what's going on with them that they lose sight of doing for themselves. Okay. And in that, they're not taking care of themselves in all ways, physically, mentally, spiritually, all these things. So it's like you have to create a plan for yourself. And I think what a lot of people are missing is a little bit of structure in their life, a morning routine. That's one of the best things you can do is create a morning routine. For anyone that says, oh, but let's just say you get up in the morning and the first thing you got to do is get ready to take kids to school. I know this is easier said than done, but I would love for you to maybe wake up 30 minutes to an hour earlier. And yes, that might mean going to sleep 30 minutes to an hour earlier so that you can have that initial time to get yourself together, to not just rush into doing tasks or rush off to work. No, you get up, breathe, maybe do some stretching, maybe some reading, praying, whatever the case may be. For some of you, if you don't, some people intermittent fast, so okay, that's different. But if you don't, maybe having a bowl of fruit in the morning, just little things to help set the pace of the day, as well as practicing not jumping straight to your phone. And I laugh because I know so many, and I've been guilty myself. Wake up and the first thing people doing is looking at that phone. Stop. You'd be surprised how much smoother your day can go when you don't engage with any electronics whatsoever for at least 30 minutes after you wake up. And that I'm just giving some kind of a number to work with, okay? But either way, identifying all the ways that you can make your life better and put more of a smile on your face. Part of achieving that also is only focus on the things you can control. You see, part of the reason why people remain unhappy or struggling is because they're focusing on that ex, that man, or they're focusing on all these different things that they have no power over. Even, let's go further, even when it comes to political stuff, things that they're seeing on the internet, all this stuff that they're letting get to them. And it's like, for what? Your anger, your frustration does nothing to change the situation. All it does is inflict yourself with more pain and negative energy. All right? All it does is bring upon stress onto your body. But the scenarios that you are consumed with or focused on, they're going to go on and do what they're going to do. So learning to detach from the things that you cannot control, reminding yourself that is out of your hands, give it to God, keep it moving forward and just pour into you. If that means adding some hobbies into your life, eating better. All right. If you followed any of my previous videos, you know I'm big on like eating for your blood type. Not everybody believes in that. I do. I think it's very accurate and very, very beneficial. So I would encourage you to do some research into that, right? Finding the things that agree with your body so that you're creating less inflammation and less stress within yourself. All right. But that's a whole nother video. We can go on and on and on. Bottom line is just make yourself happy. All right. But now let's go back to that man. Here's the thing. Again, we have to acknowledge that for some of you, not only do you desire to make him regret losing you, there are some of you who, right or wrong, do hope that you can get back with this man. Plain and simple, okay? And again, you don't increase those chances by dwelling in misery or negativity. That doesn't make someone want to bring you back into their life. Even if they're the ones who contributed to you being miserable right now, that's not going to help. Your best chance at whether it's going to be moving on to something or someone bigger and better or reconciling with them will start with you getting yourself to a better place. So let that be your focus and your priority. All right, so here's another one that I want to throw out there as far as I think you shouldn't do it, or at least you got to be very careful with it. And that is using friends to communicate with that man to either find out if he regrets losing you or to create that desire in him. So what I'm talking about here is there's many times where a lot of people were with someone that they developed mutual friends with, right? Or maybe they even had mutual friends going into that relationship. And so many times after there's a breakup, for various reasons, people will then talk to their friends and then, oh, why don't you say something or see how they're doing or whatever the case may be, or you should tell them that I'm seeing someone now, using the whole jealousy tactic, whatever the case may be. And a couple of reasons why this is something that you should not do or can be very risky is because, one, you have to understand that you're not going to get the full clarity that you need using a middleman. All right. A lot of things can get misinterpreted. A lot of things can get poorly translated in that exchange, right? And so things are not always what they seem. You also can have a scenario where, let's just say you sent your friend to find out what's going on with him, right? And they then take it upon themselves to like hype up how like, oh yeah, she got all these other guys after her now, or she's seeing someone, because they think that will help. And all it does is actually make things worse, right? And that's just one example, but I've seen it happen in a variety of ways. And sometimes you may never know, because if the friend messes up and says something wrong, whether it be revealing something to them or not, they're not going to tell you. Not to mention, if it was a mutual friend, you don't always know the loyalty they may feel to that man as well to you. So it's like, okay, they went into that conversation, they weren't supposed to reveal certain things, but because they feel a loyalty to this man who they were also friends with, right? They end up saying, okay, I'm gonna tell you, but don't let her know I told you this. I cannot tell you how many times that happens, okay? And again, maybe sometimes it's worked out in people's favors. A lot of times it's backfired on people. So you're playing a very risky game, getting someone else involved in the situation. So you don't want to go that route. Instead, if you need to talk to that, I know that earlier we talked about not entertaining, and so it's this battle that you're dealing with where you don't want to be the one to talk to him, you don't want to reach out or entertain his advances, but you are so dying for information or to know what's going on with him or whatever the case may be, And this is why a friend is used. But to me, it's like, listen, either you're going to accept, I don't need to bother with this, leave it alone, it is what it is, I'm done. Or if you're that pressed that you cannot let this rest unless you at least attempt to get some answers, do it yourself. Do it yourself. And then close the door. And you do it with the understanding of, okay, I'm going in, I'm going to try to get this information or convey whatever I'm trying to convey, and then be done. All right? Though that can be risky, I would prefer that route than you involving a third party. Because again, and this just kind of hit my spirit. Let me just give you another one. And I do not want people to take this the wrong way. I've seen scenarios, or I know of scenarios where the third party was a pastor. Okay? And in this example, let's flip it. Well, actually, no. In this example, the woman went to the pastor hoping he would talk to the man. And he did. But he ends up talking to the man to get him to completely walk away, because guess what? The pastor wanted to hit on her. Now, again, this ain't to say all pastors are like that. Don't start thinking like that. Whatever. There are people who will do shady things in all walks of life. All right. I am just showing you the example of how even someone that you may assume you can trust is not going to do anything shady or messed up. It can still happen. All right. And this is why, again, you're still better off just doing it yourself. All right. Couple more to go, and then we're going to wrap this up. So this next one, very important thing for you to do. It's going to contribute to him regret losing you, but again, it's really about you. And that is, make sure that you take the time to heal from everything. All right. So when we talked earlier about focusing on making your life better, bringing happiness into your life. And I said, take care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. What you need to do is don't look at this as, all right, let me just get over that man, right? Let me just deal with that situation. No, this is your opportunity to heal from everything. Part of the reason why you're even struggling with this is because there's things from your past you have not released. And for many of you, I would highly suggest, before you even entertain whether you want to be completely done with this man or you want him back into your life, you heal first, because your lack of healing is blinding your judgment. Again, I've seen some scenarios where those two people need to reconcile. What's getting in the way is unresolved trauma. Not two people who don't go well together, but two people who have not handled things emotionally, and they're conflicting now on the surface. On the other side, I've seen women trying to hold on to relationships that it's for a man that is not for you, right? But she's blinded by her unresolved trauma that keeps her in this unhealthy attachment. So no matter which way you're supposed to go, it's harder to see that until you release all the old quote unquote baggage. Okay. So healing from everything means your childhood, friends, everything that hurt you. So I have the book, Love After Heartbreak. It gives you the steps to healing. Go through that process. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's extremely necessary and extremely beneficial. Okay. And then the other result of that is not only being able to see things more clearly and go about things in a healthier, better way, but your happiness will become so much easier when you're no longer bogged down by all that old negative energy. A lot of people do not realize how much their past is impacting their present and derailing their future. All right. So this is why it's important. Don't brush it off. Even if you're watching this and you think, I don't got any issues, Stephan. I don't need any healing. Do it as a checkup. Just see. Just see, because the way that I walked you through the process, the steps for you to take, just doing the first exercise will reveal to you if you really have some things that you've been holding on to. Because a lot of people have suppressed for so long, they don't even realize what's there. So do that. And then, yes, that will allow you to be happier, allow you to see things more clearly. And being this new, almost renewed person is going to still contribute to him regret losing you. But at that point, you may no longer care because now you see, all right, that ain't for me anyway. And I'm good. And you move forward in peace. All right. So one more I got to throw in there, and I got a little bonus I want to add. This one, I could not honestly leave it out, right? Though some of you may not like it. And so another thing that you can do that will make him regret losing you is improve yourself physically, all right? Looking good. Again, I'm not telling you that that should be your motivation. I'm not telling you that I want you to be worried about that. I'm only mentioning it because it's true, because it does have an impact. And you can argue that's true for a lot of people, men and women. When people see someone they used to date looking even better, they're like, damn, I messed up. You know, oh man, I might need to revisit this. Like it absolutely has an impact on an individual. Now, I want you to strive to look and feel better for you, all right? And understand the benefits that come with that. And understand it's not, looking better is not just about the looks aspect, all right? It's a lot of it is the things you should do that you'll do to look better if you go about it. We're not talking about, if you choose to do surgeries and stuff, that's your choice. I'm more focused on the natural holistic approach to improving yourself overall. So that's going to mean eating better, exercising, sleeping better, right? Managing stress. And those things that lead to an enhanced physical appearance also lead to an enhanced mental health, emotional health, all these things, physical health internally. Like, you're going to just feel better overall. Okay. And I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. I'm not a doctor or anything, but you can find a lot of information on the internet that talks about how muscle is so important. And I think a lot of people, a lot of women, they're neglecting the need to build more muscle in their body, not to look like a bodybuilder or anything crazy, but adding some muscle and strength to themselves can have a profound impact on your health and your appearance and all the various things that are going to be beneficial to you. So be open to that. Do what you can. You don't have to go crazy like someone else. Sometimes it's, for some of you, just adding 2 days. If you don't exercise at all, just adding 2 days of exercise per week is going to have a great impact. All right. If we can get to 3, that's even better. At least 3, 2 to 3. Start somewhere and just take it easy and work it into your program, however you got to do it. But trust and believe it's going to be a great thing for you. All right. And then one other thing I wanted to mention, the bonus, is just at the end of the day, again, I don't really want you worried about him regretting losing you. I do these videos to answer your questions. I just want you to give it to God and move forward on the path that is best for you. All right. And yes, that's why I make sure, even though we're talking about him regretting losing you, if you really pay attention to what I'm saying, it's really about getting you right. It's about making sure that you're pouring into yourself. It's making sure that you're in a healthier, happier place, and then let the blessings flow from that. All right. But to assist you in that journey, I encourage you to go to God. I encourage you to pray. You know what I'm saying? Talk to God. What does he want you to be doing in your life right now? What does he want you to be focused on, right? And allow that to guide you as you move forward through all these different things that we discuss, so that you can receive all that God has for you. Thank you for watching this video. I pray it was helpful to you. Be sure to watch this one over here on Never Chase a Man. Do these things instead. Now, once it is taken away from you,
it creates a void because that's no longer there. You're no longer getting your hit. It's almost like crack. I don't know what crack is really like.